Hi folks, I bet you're confused when it comes to feeding your dog. There's so many choices out there. Should you feed raw? Should you feed kibble? Should you feed dehydrated raw? I get it. That's 100% valid, and particularly with the shiny bags that are on the shelf. Which one do you buy? Hey, and if this is your first time here, please click on the subscribe button and it'll help me bring more great content to you, and it'll help you with more training tips. So watch this video and you can be sure you'll have a puppy with a happy tummy, no digestive issues. I want to talk to you about food. Food's important. So this is what she came in with. This is, we'll just quickly flash the bag. This isn't here to bash brands by any means, but this is a standard puppy kibble. So the ingredients are, it says salmon. So everything in, just so you know, everything in kibble, all the ingredients are weight before processing. So it says salmon as the first ingredient. So anybody that doesn't understand how dog food is made would go, wow, salmon's the first ingredient. That's great. How much water is in salmon? About 85%. So they dry it and heat it 3-4 times so that they can get it to look from a slab of fish like that to something like that. So it slides down way down the list. So then after that is rice and barley. Those are two fillers that dogs don't need in their diet. Fish meal. So the thing that is of concern when it says fish meal, that's unidentified fish. And meal is already dehydrated when it's added, so then they dehydrate it again. So they suck the nutrients out of it there. And then we've got canola meal, which is another filler. And beef fat is a preservative. And then dried yeast, oatmeal, pea protein. So we're at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 before we see something that actually says protein, and plant protein is the lowest grade of protein that you can get. And then it goes on salmon meal again, so it's so far down that they might have put a pinch in there and then they dehydrated it again. And then natural flavor, we don't know what that is. Fish, anything that's unidentified. Fish oil, we don't know what kind of fish. And then they get into the taurine is way down in here, but if the ingredients were preserved properly, taurine's already in the meat, but it means they've sucked it out, so then they got to put it back in. Then they get into minerals and vitamins. So that's really kibble. And they don't really, there's things in here that they don't have to say. They can change the ingredients. So if you come over to the analysis, it talks about, 28% proteins, maybe. But when it gets down to, that's the French side, when it gets down to moisture, it's like less than 10% moisture. The thing about puppy food, this is interesting, I didn't notice before, is that the most important ingredient for developing puppies is calcium. And the minimum recommended amount by AAFCO, which is the American Association of Pet Food Corporations, and Fox in charge of the Hen House Corporation, is calcium, and this is 1.1%. The minimum recommendation is 1.2%. So it's below the minimum recommendations. You might say, well, it's only 0.1%. Still 0.1%. All right, so that's that. Then we come over here to Smack, which is my recommended food. Well, I've got two recommended foods here. So you can see in here we have a list of, we got down to number 10 before we even found one that had something that was barely recognizable in it, and then it goes on again. Smack has 7, 8, maybe 8 ingredients. It starts off with salmon, and then there's a footnote here for something. Salmon, rockfish, coconut, pumpkin, spinach, celery, carrot, turmeric, thyme, mango, pineapple, strawberry, parsley, tocopherols, that's the beef fat here for preservatives, and then peppermint. And these are, their salmon is wild salmon, so it's extra catch. Rockfish and salmon are indicated as wild, and the rest of them are certified organic. And that's all that's in here. And then they talk about the processing, and when you get into the important ingredient for puppies, the calcium, it's 1.5%. So it's way above. So it's just something to keep in mind. And they give you the ingredients here by weight. The other thing about puppy recommended feeding is generally they recommend, the recommended amount on a bag of kibble is proven to be 30% more than what the puppy needs. Wow. So and obesity is the #1 killer of dogs right now. So this, she's, for her, they go by weight here, but they give a puppy indicator, and I weighted her, well, she's higher than 20 pounds, but she's getting about 2 cups of this a day. The other thing that's different is when she when she came in the first day I took her home, I remember that she pooped at the thing. It was like as big as your fist.
Yeah.
Well, here she still poops like 4 times a day, but they're little. And they're very good consistency. So just give it a try and see. And then this, I'm going to give you this as some samples. There's also, so I'm going to show you your bagging. This is raw. So this is a puppy-based raw. And what I do with this is, if she was with me, I'd feed her. Yeah, she loves this. She goes nuts for this.
Oh, wow.
Initially, she went nuts for the smack. Now she goes nuts for the raw. And this is iron whale. That's what I feed. But they have, you go to their website to get, it's 80% meat, 20% fiber, and the ingredients are all on their website. But what I do with this is, because this is not for what she's going to be doing, I recognize this might not be most convenient, but I do give her a snack, if I can find it in here. Yeah, so I take this bone and I put about 2 tablespoons of raw in there when she needs to go in her crate to rest. If you want to, it just eases the burden on the smack and it gives her a little bit of variety. She freaks. She goes crazy. She loves it. So you can just stick it in there, and then she'll chew on it afterwards because it's kind of like flavorful. And just be aware, she does like to make noise with it. And drop it on the floor. But that's kind of what I do with the raw. So you can use that as a supplement. If she was eating raw right now at her age, she would be eating 1 pound a day. So she'd be getting like 1/3 of a pound if you feed her 3 times a day. So this would last you a couple days. But it's frozen, so once it's thawed, you can keep the other one frozen. But it's like the ideal. But the smack, you don't have to add anything to either one of these. So give it a try. Any questions on nutrition?